How to wean off of Suboxone. So this episode today, I'm going to try to talk about some of the successful ways that I've weaned off of Suboxone to minimize the withdrawal effect. I had a comment from a subscriber maybe a few videos ago talking about having to come off of Suboxone and how to wean off of it, scared of the withdrawal phase. Now, I've came off of Suboxone in many different ways, through a doctor, through getting Suboxone by myself. And the weaning schedule has been all different throughout different types of doctors. So in this episode today, I'm just going to kind of talk about what I did to minimize withdrawal effects. And make sure you guys stick around to the end because the last part is going to be the absolute most important part of the whole phase. This is Greg with Iron Aftercare. And if you guys are loving the videos, please like, please subscribe. I love all you guys. So now if you guys go to a doctor and you guys are coming off of opiates, you guys are coming off the heroins or the Percocets or the fentanyls or anything of that sort, they're probably going to start to prescribe you around 8 milligrams to 24 milligrams a day. Now, Suboxone usually comes in 8 milligram strips. They're little strips that you can put underneath your tongue. I don't know if they make the pills anymore, but they used to make like a little octagon pill that you would take. I've never started any higher than 16 milligrams. I don't really see a point in taking 24 milligrams, 8 milligram strips. I know some doctors that have done that. I just don't think that taking any more than 60 milligrams that you should have any sort of withdrawal effects. So me personally, if I was going to go to a doctor that was going to start me at 24 milligrams, I would kind of think that that's sort of a red flag where I'm like, what the fuck are you trying to do? Now, the first successful time that I weaned off of Suboxone through a doctor, and they had it completely right. Now, me, in my opinion, I wouldn't want to be on Suboxone longer than say maybe a month and a half. Because really, you're masking your withdrawal symptoms, but you're basically just pushing them off till later. They're not going to disappear, but you can make them a little bit more comfortable. So many times I started 16 milligrams, maybe for a week or 2 weeks, and they would drop that down to 8 milligrams. So one strip a week. Now, if you're going to the doctor, once you get past that 8 milligram prescription for maybe a few weeks, once you get past that 8 milligram, they make actually smaller milligram tablets that you can take. They make 4 milligrams and they make 2 milligrams. So this doctor that had me on 8 milligrams had then dropped me to 4 milligram a day. And I did that for a few weeks. And then he prescribed me 2 milligram strips. And then I was on that for a few weeks. And then from there, I was taking 2 milligrams for maybe a couple weeks. We're on maybe week 6 by now. Those 2 milligram ones, you can start to rip those in half and start to rip those in quarters. And then I was taking about a half milligram to 1 milligram for about a week. And then me personally, he wanted to keep me on 2 milligrams and have me come off of that. Now, I've done that a few times before, and the withdrawal symptoms between coming off of 8 or 16 milligrams doesn't seem that much different than coming off of 2 milligrams. But a little secret that I like to do towards the end there, once I get to that half to 1 milligram, I like to start going as long as I can before taking my next dosage. So if I'm working with 1 milligram dosages, I'm trying to go as long as I can before I need to take that again. So the biggest problem with drugs and Suboxone and stuff like that is that you religiously take it at the same time every day. It's how you start your day. So for me, every morning that I'd wake up, I'd have to have my Suboxone to start my day. I always went right to it. It's okay, I'm going to take it now. I'm going to take it now. So I started to try to push it a little bit further. So when I woke up, I tried to do something to keep me busy and try to keep going throughout the day. Even though I was slightly feeling a little bit of a withdrawal, it wasn't full blown withdrawal yet. I tried to push it as long as I can until I had to take my next dosage. And sometimes that'd be like maybe 36 hours. Sometimes maybe it was like 2 hours after 24 hours. Maybe it was like a couple hours after I woke up. But I kept trying to push it off as long as I could. And once you get down to that like half milligram, 1 milligram, technically you're not getting a lot of Suboxone in your body. You know, it's going to make you feel a little bit better. But for me, a big placebo effect that I had when taking Suboxone is just getting that orange taste in your mouth. So I always recognized that if I had that orange taste in my mouth, I immediately was going to start feeling a little bit better. So just having that, even if it's like a small little piece, you know, because once you get, it depends what you're breaking down. So if you're breaking down an 8 milligram strip and you're breaking that down into like 1 milligram pieces, they're very small. And something that small is going to help you a little bit, but just getting that orange taste in your mouth, just a placebo effect alone is going to make you start feeling a little bit better. So you're not going to be feeling on like level 10 as if you are on like 8 or like 16 milligrams a day, but you're going to be good enough to keep going. So the goal is to try to keep your mind busy and try to keep pushing as far as you can. You know, try to get to the point where you can go 36 hours. You can go 2 days, you know, before you actually need to take that 1 to half a milligram a day. Once you get to that point where you're like pushing it to a day and a half, 2 days, then you start trying to come off. You know, you start trying to like completely take out all the Suboxone. And I would do that through like possibly trying to push it to 3 days, push it to 4 days, and try to do this and like take a half milligram as I need, you know? Now, the most important thing that you need to be doing during this whole process, now this process, in my opinion, the way that I've done it, I don't like to take it longer than like a month and a half. So like maybe like 6 weeks total is where I'm like weaning down from either, you know, 16 milligrams to that half to 1 milligram, or that 8 milligrams down to that half to 1 milligrams. During that 6 weeks, the most important thing that I did, and the most important thing that's going to make your withdrawals a little bit better, is start making yourself feel better physically and mentally on a daily basis, especially while you're feeling good. While you're on the Suboxone, you have the ability to make changes in your life to give you something to be excited about, something to bring your confidence up, something to like bring you joy throughout the day. It's that one thing that you're going to replace that prescription with every single morning. So for me, it was working out. So my big mood changer throughout the day, that when I wake up, I do my workout, whether it be cardio or weightlifting or something, just to improve myself a little bit physically and to improve myself mentally. Get into the habit of doing that. And when you get in the habit of doing that, you're going to start seeing changes mentally and physically. And when you start seeing changes physically is when you start feeling better mentally. You have the opportunity to do this while you're still feeling good. Obviously, once you come off the Suboxone completely and you start having the withdrawal symptoms, it might be a little bit harder to get your workouts in. But at least you have one good thing going for you. You know, you're getting into shape. Mentally, you feel good. You've been eating healthy. You've been working out every morning. You've been getting into this groove of things. Whatever your goal may be, would it be to maybe you want to drop some weight. Maybe you're just trying to get that six pack you've always had. Maybe you want to put muscle on. Maybe you're really skinny. You want to put muscle on. You want to put some size on. Whatever your goal may be, start working on that immediately. The changes that you can see physically do so much for your mental psyche. You know, it completely changed my life. It gave me something to look forward to. It gave me something to work towards. It gave me something to feel good about. You know, like this is something that like I did daily, and I started seeing improvements on a weekly basis. And when you start running or you start working out, you start setting goals. And once you start getting better week after week on your running, and you start getting better week after week on your weightlifting, your mind starts to change. You start building confidence by, you know, crushing these goals day after day and crushing these goals week after week. And it really is a mood changer. And if you can get yourself into a good position where mentally you're on a good path and physically you're on a good path into the withdrawal stage, it's going to make it completely easier for you. It's going to make everything a lot better. You being in better like physical shape and mental shape to try to, head on this withdrawal phase, especially mentally. You know, if for 6 weeks you've been just building yourself up and you building your confidence and you building yourself, you're proud of what you've been doing, it's going to give you a really good head start in the withdrawal phase, because a lot of the withdrawal phase is physical, but a lot of it is mental. Being mentally strong enough to not take that dosage and to try to push it off for those 2 days, 3 days, or not go back to it, or not, relapse. None of it is a perfect situation. You know, it doesn't matter what you do. You could be 100% on point with everything. It's still going to suck no matter what. When you come off of opiates and you get on that Suboxone, you're basically just band-aiding the problem for a later time. There isn't a way to avoid it. There's a way to make it more comfortable, but no matter what you do, it's still going to suck and you're going to have to push through it. But if you can be mentally strong and physically strong going into it and have a plan, have something to look forward to, where it's like almost these withdrawals are a burden to you and you can't wait to get over them, to get back to what you were doing. I want to get back to working out. I want to get back to running and lifting weights because that's what's making me feel good. I think you have an excellent chance at it. I hope this gives you a little bit of insight on weaning off of Suboxone. One size does not fit all. You guys got to figure it out for yourself. If you're having any troubles, like, please contact a doctor. If you need medical attention, there's many times where I've come off of Suboxone where I had to go to inpatient, a detox facility. Any problems that you guys have, please seek medical attention. I hope some of this video helps you guys. Like I said, if you guys like the content, please subscribe. I love all you guys. I'm out.